interesting perspective with somebody who went not only to the traditional road of sports business, but she's done a lot that most people haven't even begun to think about. We'll talk about the bio, but it's not only the Raiders and writing a book and philanthropic issues and advisory board of the LA Sports and Entertainment Commission, and now CEO of Big Three Basketball, and many, many more. We haven't even scratched the surface. Amy Trask, how's that for an intro?
Well, that was quite an intro, and I will admit something that I was actually a bit glad you didn't share, but I'll share it anyway. I think we've known one another about 100 years, which talks to just how old I really am.
Yeah, well, collectively.
Talk about that.
Yeah.
Wow, oh, wow. But, yes, it's been a pleasure to work with you over the years.
Man, 100 years. Yeah, let's start that. Let's kill this interview and start it again, but I think you're probably right. So the Raiders was at least 30 years of that. So 97 to 13, obviously you were the business person with the Raiders and the NFL first female front office executive, which is obviously an incredibly big deal. That 30 years flew by, right? I mean, you think back on it, and it's
sure did.
Give me your perspective, yeah.
You know, it sure did. You're right, 97 was when Al assigned a big title to me, but I began my career with the Raiders in the mid-'80s. And when I tell people I was with the organization almost 30 years, I think I should follow up and say, but, you know, I started when I was 12. And, of course, the fact is I didn't. But it was an absolutely sensational almost 30 years. It was the opportunity of a lifetime. I began with the organization in the mid-'80s, as I said, as an intern, and it evolved from there.
And you talk about it, you live through it, and you write a book called You Negotiate Like a Girl, Reflections on a Career at the National Football League. Give us kind of the one takeaway.
Wow. Well, you know, I shared my reflections on my career. I shared my thoughts about business in general, football in particular. Let me share with you something that has served me well over my career, and I share this in the book. It is the advice my mother gave me from the time I was a very, very, very young girl. And as mothers are wont to do, she must have told me this 7 zillion times as I grew up, to thine own self be true. I didn't realize till I had almost graduated from Cal that my mother didn't actually coin that phrase. That was actually a guy named William Shakespeare.
Yeah, just a minor guy, right.
Yeah, you know, to think my mom stole it from him or he stole it from her. The point is, what served me well over the course of my 3 decades with the Raiders in the NFL and still serves me well to this day is being myself. And I would encourage anyone who wants to have great adventures to be true to their self. And if I may, Rick, I'll share probably the overriding message that people have come away with from the book, which is to comport yourself without regard to gender. I'm asked all the time by young women how to succeed, how to advance in business, and I give them 2 pieces of advice. One, work hard. Work really, really, really hard. And when you think you can't work any harder, find a way to work harder. And number 2, stop thinking about the fact that you're a woman. It does not make any sense whatsoever to me for a woman to walk into a room with the hope and the expectation that others won't consider her gender if she is thinking about her gender. Do your job.
My sense is that Al Davis is somebody who respects a person, regardless of gender, who use those business principles to deal with him. Am I right?
Oh, you're absolutely right. And, you know, this is a man who hired without regard to race, gender, ethnicity, religion, or any other individuality, which has no bearing whatsoever on whether someone can do a job. And if I may share, and one of the most special moments of my career, and I describe it at length in the book, I won't do that now, was during a meeting when the circumstances warranted, and Al said to all assembled, "Oh, Amy, I don't consider Amy a woman." And that was such a significant moment to me, because isn't that what we dream and we hope and we expect, that we are going to be considered based on merits and not based on our ethnicity or gender or race or religion, and that is how he did his job.
Words to live by. One more Raiders question. Do you at all regret the fact that it's a new era in Vegas with significant dollars and a new stadium and everything, and you're not involved?
No, I don't. I wish the organization well, but I made a decision that when I chose to leave the organization, one of the factors in that decision was I did not want to be part of removing the team from the community. And so, I'm not looking to create an uproar when I make that comment. It's just as honest can be. I wish the organization well. I wish the fans well. I really wish Raider Nation the very, very best. I want the Raider Nation to be as happy can be. I know some will be heartbroken, but no, I'm not at all disappointed to not be part of moving the team from the community.
And by the way, that's a hell of a comment. So to thine own self be true, I guess is the answer.
There you go.
And a great segue into Big Three, which is an incredible organization. So we have interviewed Jeff Quatnitz, and we're going to have him on and the benefit of his wisdom, and he's an entertainment mogul nonpareil. How did you connect with the organization and define your role and go from there?
Well, it was late this past spring. The Big Three had been formed and announced in January of this year, and in the late spring, Ice Cube and his tremendous business partner you just referenced, Jeff, approached me and asked me about joining the league. And after I said no about umpteen times, here I am. They're tremendous recruiters, among other things. Look, I want to share something with you. These are both tremendous businessmen. And while people know Ice Cube for his tremendous artistic talent, and look, those who know me know I have been an NWA and Ice Cube fan back to the time when they began their artistic musical career. He is every bit as tremendous a businessman as he is an artist. And there's a similarity, there's a segue here between the point you just made about Al Davis and Ice Cube and Jeff. I've had the privilege and the pleasure now of working for all of these men that share something in common. They regard people without any respect to gender, race, ethnicity, religion. But, here I have had the luxury and the pleasure and the privilege of working for men like Al Davis and Ice Cube, and that's a similarity they have. My gender is irrelevant to them.
And you've also got a heck of an organization as far as concept and a business plan. Why does Big Three basketball succeed over the next 5 years?
Well, look, we all know that 3-on-3 basketball, 3-on-3 half-court basketball is beloved throughout the United States, and you can't go to a park or a beach and see a basketball court where 3-on-3 is not played by people of all ages. What I have learned since joining Big Three is that this game is just off the charts popular around the world. So Big Three has been not only tremendously well received in the United States, but we are already being broadcast. We're 3 games into our business, 3 games in, and we are already broadcast in almost 36 countries around the world. And there's a list of additional countries that we're trying to process as quickly as we can to get them on board as well. But this is something that is going to be beloved throughout the world. And, if I can wax philanthropic or wax poetic, if you will, for a moment, maybe we can be part of bringing together people around the world through this commonality, this love for the game of 3-on-3 half-court basketball. People that might otherwise think they have nothing in common may find that they share this passion.
And you had the good fortune to sign on as CEO of an organization whose major sport is now an Olympic sport in the next Olympics or 2. Without getting specific as to whether you're going to be identified and aligned with USA Basketball or FIBA or any of them, the concept of 3-on-3 basketball in the Olympics has to be good for you, right?
Oh, sure. And, shortly after I joined Big Three, someone, and I apologize, I don't remember his name, but someone associated with the NC2A announced that he envisioned within the next 10 years an NC2A 3-on-3 championship, basketball championship. And then, of course, we know, and you just referenced, that the IOC made its announcement not too long ago. And I will admit to being perhaps just a bit, some would say snarky, others might say childish, but when they announced that, my tweet in response was, "You're welcome." So it sure is exciting to see how beloved this will be around the world.
Well, I think that's wonderful, except now, given who's tweeting and what they're tweeting about, I think you can rise above the normal snarky tweets, if I can give you a little bit of advice.
Well, that's as snarky as I ever get, and I consider it humorous. But in my Twitter village, we engage in civil discourse only. When we disagree, we do so agreeably. And we are reasoned and reasonable. So there's no mean. I have a large Twitter village, and we're not mean to one another.
I think what you need to do is retire quickly as CEO of Big Three and rewrite the rules for a worldwide Twitter village. What do you think?
We're working on it, and I will tell you, I have a roughly 30,000 village, so it's not huge. But I will say on the rarest of rare occasions, someone will tweet something that's a little bit mean, and I will immediately reply and say, hey, we can disagree, but we don't have to be nasty about it. And let me tell you, to a person, the 3 or 4 people that have been a little mean who've received my response have written back and saying, you know what, you're right. You're absolutely right. Let's do this nicely. So maybe Twitter Village will take over the world.
Really appreciate it. We're going to do this again when Big Three season is over, and on and on and on. So thank you very much, Amy Trask.
Well, Rick, I hope we do it again. It's always my pleasure and privilege to speak with you. You may not want to speak with me again after I announce we're 100 years old. But the other thing is, and I'll leave you with this, let us know if you're in a city where we're playing a game. We'd love to have you with us.
I will see you in Philly on Sunday. The answer is yes, I've accepted. Amy Trask, thanks a lot.